Number 10, It's a Rumic World, 50th Anniversary Weekly Shonen Sunday.
この時代にも鬼がいたのか。
みんな楽しんでってほしいっちゃ。
It's a cluster of gags involving a bunch of classic anime icons that barely reaches over the 3-minute mark. Basically, a barrel of fun for old school fans.
うるせえ！俺は男だ！
You've got the unexpected trifecta of Inuyasha, Ranma 1/2, and Urusei Yatsura all colliding, and considering how many of those contain hotheads with a knack for battle, it isn't long before everyone starts throwing hands. That, and we get to see Lum, Kagome, and female Ranma again, each with beautifully updated visuals, so there's a bonus. Number 9, Cyborg 009 vs Devilman. Now here's a crossover in the making, one that stretches back decades. Might sound a bit out there to have Go Nagai's demonic anti-hero butting heads with a group of rather aesthetically challenged machines, but the result is actually lit in the most unexpected of ways. From a visual standpoint, it's rather outstanding, leading itself to some impressive fight scenes where we see Hell battle it out with the power of science. Ironically, it's also Devilman's least soul-shattering on-screen venture since his cutie honey cameo. About time Akira got off lightly. Number 8, Goku vs Aral. An off-the-wall battle spells the end of the Earth. Dragon Ball Super. It's not the first time that Goku has interacted with an adorable robot that somehow surpasses the strength of all Saiyans, but this most recent collab was far away the funniest. Not only does Aral prove herself to be the strongest being in existence, but does so at the explicit expense of Vegeta. Poor guy gets his ass handed to him by a mechanical elementary schooler. Throw in some great gags courtesy of Beerus, and while this filler episode may be wholly jarring, by itself it's a solid laugh. Number 7, Carnival Phantasm.
おそらくあれがキャスターのマスターだと思うんだが、ちょいとカマをかけてみる。
The Fate franchise is many things: convoluted, confusing, gorgeously animated, and more depressing than a graveyard. Not the kind of place you expect to see off-the-wall comedy, which is what makes this spin-off feel so out of the blue. Essentially, any and all masters and servants from across the Fateverse, along with characters from Tsukihime and other Type Moon franchises, are thrown into an endless slew of parodies and slapstick. We definitely don't recommend you start with this one, but if you want to see the cast actually smile for once, it's worth checking out. Number 6, Isekai Quartet. This shouldn't have worked. There was no way putting several fundamentally different anime into a high school setting with a chibi art style was going to work, especially if the only thing to connect them was the fact they all stemmed from the isekai genre. We were so wrong. The interactions between the casts of ReZero, Shield Hero, Overlord, Tanya the Evil, and Konosuba are hilariously on point, keeping true to the characters without all that doom and gloom their shows are known for. If anything, we want to see them keep packing in new additions. Cautious Hero, where you at? Number 5, Lupin the Third vs Detective Conan, the movie. What happens when the world's greatest detective takes on the world's most uncatchable thief? A delightful crime caper that pits Conan's one truth against Lupin and his devilish luck.
この世でただ一人誰だ
ルポン
While far mellower than what Lupin fans might expect from something starring Fujiko, watching these two unorthodox intellects try to trip one another up makes for a great time. Their eventual team-up may have been predictable, but they proved to be an unstoppable force together that they could probably bring down the Black Organization within a day.
ここにいる小生意気な名探偵に会うためにな言ってろよ
Number 4. Speaking of crossovers, don't forget about Alien vs Predator, Gintama.
何ビビってんだよコラボなんて私たち今まで散々やってきたあるドラゴンボールにワンピースブリーチそうそうたるメンツとの共演忘れたあるか
Gin and the rest have parodied so many other anime that it's sometimes a shocker they didn't get sued to hell and back. Among their many dalliances with the fourth wall, slice-of-life comedy Sket Dance came under fire multiple times, in the most endearing Gintama way of course.
キャラのご利用しじゃねえか完全に俺たち潰しきだな
This eventually led to a legitimate crossover that saw Oddjob's Gin actually clash with the Helpers Club over such issues as having a parallel premise occupying their old time slots and other craziness, to the point where the whole thing becomes a whirl of WTF.
あのないい加減にしてくれへんかなもう締めに入っとんねんどんだけ派手になりたかったんや
Number 3. YuGiOh Bonds Beyond Time. A failed student, a guy on a motorcycle, and a kid with ancient Egyptian personality disorder all walk into a car to prevent the destruction of time. That's not a terrible joke, that's the premise of what might be the most outlandish YuGiOh movie to date.
大丈夫ですか
Taking on a time-traveling madman whose world was somehow devastated because of card games, the protagonists of YuGiOh GX and 5Ds team up for a 3 vs 1 duel that is sure to get any duelist pumping. Sure, the premise is insane, but it's a treat for fans. Number 2. Fairy Tail Cross Rave.
何あんた私エリ
Oh yeah, Rave Master was a thing back in the day. At least until Hiro Mashima found overwhelming success with Natsu and the mages over at Fairy Tail, wherein Haru and his Ten Commandments sword were left behind.
だとこらやんのかやんのか
Thankfully, both of Mashima's works were brought to the forefront together in a surprising, fun reunion of sorts that had both casts crossing blades before teaming up to cause some mayhem on the unlucky bad guys.
これでとどめだ
Collaboration versus Glutton of the Sea, One Piece. Now this is how you do a crossover. What's the plot here? Oh, who cares? It's a tournament arc featuring Luffy, Goku, and Toriko beating the hell out of each other with all the bells and whistles. It's so in your face and surface level, yet the hype could not be more real. Say what you will about why a Super Saiyan would struggle against a Super Chef and a Rubber Man, it's still awesome to see them battle it out. Our one complaint? We needed way more focus on the fight between Zoro, Vegeta, and Zebra. Let's be honest guys, they're the most interesting characters out of the bunch.
サウンドバズーカやりっこ
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.